Got to get a move on here. My appointment's coming up pretty quick, so I've got to get on the road. Have my follow-up appointment today. As many of you know, if you've been following along on the channel, I have a stress fracture in my femoral neck of my left hip. And so I've had an MRI, and basically I've been told that, I can do some low impact types of exercises. So that's what I've been doing for the last, well, since my MRI appointment, but long before that, because I pretty much stopped running a couple weeks into that last training block, unfortunately. So it's been a long time. Really excited to get back to running. So I've been doing that low impact stuff for, since I was advised not to. I haven't tried to test it. I guess that's the biggest difference. When I realized that I was injured and I stopped running and I was spending my time doing my workouts on my stationary bike and that kind of thing, I still had the inclination to test my hip every now and then. Every 3 or 4 weeks or so, I'd go for a run, which I should not have done. And I think that's something that you live and learn for sure. So going forward, if I'm injured and it hasn't worked itself out after 3 weeks, I better go see a doctor, and try to figure out what's going on, because I made the big mistake of making an assumption that because I had bursitis in my right hip that was diagnosed not long before the Chicago Marathon, that the pain that I was experiencing in my left hip was the same. And, so that's the way that I treated it. But it's not the same. It's two very big different things, having something like bursitis and having a stress fracture. So testing a stress fracture is not a good idea, because it just set me back. I'm sure it set my recovery time back. So, you live and learn. You live and learn. And, for those of you who have hired, running coaches, or you're working with a running coach, you've got the benefit of that common sense mindset that's outside of your own to say, maybe you should go get that looked at. And I rely upon you guys a lot for that as well. But I'm not always the best at taking even my own advice. But you guys are great, and I think you really saved my bacon on this one, because many of you were suggesting that I get it looked at by a professional, since it had been so long. And when I did that, I realized that, oh my gosh, good thing that I did, because if I would have attempted to run it, which was my intent, I was just going to maybe run a slower pace, but to go 26.2 miles on a stress fracture, it could have been disastrous. So thank you to everybody who warned me against doing that. And, I listen. And going forward, like I said, I'm going to be, try to be more in tune and more proactive, I guess, with some of these things, and not wait so long. I was hoping for the best, but it didn't happen. I wasn't able to run it even though I wanted to, and that's what happens. But you live and you learn, and hopefully that'll be the takeaway from that. So I got to head in. My appointment is in just about an hour from now, and it's probably a 40-minute drive, as I mentioned before. So I'll take you guys along with me for the ride. I don't really know that I'm going to get any kind of direction or even answers yet today, because my last visit, they had scheduled this appointment to do a follow-up X-ray. Now, I don't know what an X-ray is really going to tell us at this point, because they already did an MRI, which I think is the gold standard when it comes to identifying stress fractures that may be missed by an X-ray. But I trust my doctor. He's a sports medicine physician. This is what he does, and he treats some high-level athletes. Right? He treats the MSU athletes. So I have to trust and believe that he knows what he's doing. So, but maybe they won't. Maybe they won't do that. But that was my takeaway from our last meeting, is that when we met today, he wanted to do a follow-up X-ray to see what was going on. So I'm sure that I'm not going to get any kind of clearance to say, oh yeah, go ahead, start a return to run program at this point, because once they do the X-ray, then you have to wait for a radiologist to read it to tell us what it means. And so that's going to take a few days. So today is a Tuesday. I suspect that I won't have another follow-up appointment to go over the results of the x-ray until probably early next week, probably at the soonest, but I don't know. So they've been really good about working with me, but there's no sense of urgency right now like there has been in the past. When I waited longer than I should have to get diagnosed for the Chicago Marathon, things like that. So they really pushed things through because I had a very short time window, a very short window before that marathon, before the Chicago Marathon, where I needed answers. Could I run it or not, kind of a thing. So, but right now I'm in between training blocks, so I've got plenty of time, got lots of time to listen. But I am so ready to start my return to run program. Oh my gosh, I am so ready. Okay, so with that, I have got to get my coffee. I'm gonna head on out to the car. I thought I'd just kind of share this with you because it's a shout out to my sister and to my niece. I don't know if you guys can be able to see that very well, but it's kind of this raise. It's a birthday card. I had a birthday just recently, and they do such a nice job. I mean, these cards are just amazing, and I know they put a lot of work and time into it. I don't know what all that they have, but they got a whole basement full of stuff to do these kinds of crafts. Those cricket machines and stamps, and I don't know. I don't know what all they have, but they're really good at what they do, and I know that they enjoy it, and I enjoy being the benefactor of some of these awesome cards. So this is just kind of an example of the kinds of things that they do, but they do these really spectacular, Christmas cards, and it's the kind of thing that I keep, and I will put those Christmas cards back up on my tree because they look so awesome. So big shout out to my sister and to my niece for making an extra special birthday card for me. I just had a wonderful birthday. My family, my kids, everybody just made it really, really special. So I enjoyed this last weekend, and you might have noticed on Strava that it was a little bit lighter than usual for the last couple of days, and that's part of the reason. I was spending a lot of time with my family, but now I'm kind of getting back into it. My numbers have been down a little bit on Strava in terms of my biking. I'm still biking, which is what I was told I was able to do. But I went from biking 100 miles to a week to I think it was 85-ish, something like that, maybe last week, and then it was 68 or 70. So it's kind of come down a little bit, but some of that is also by design. It's nice just to take a little bit of a break, and I'm putting a bit more emphasis on my strength training. So I've got my gym days. I don't always record them on Strava, but when I think about it, I try to. So yesterday was what I would call a gym day, even though I'm not lifting heavy weights right now because I haven't been cleared for that. That is one of the questions I'm going to ask, but they probably won't get an answer till after the X-ray. Today is about starting to lift weights because that's something I want to incorporate. But I did do a lot of band work and really kind of worked my glutes quite a bit yesterday using the bands. And doing things like monster walks with the bands, just stuff like that. Things that I thought would be acceptable and not cause any more damage. All right, so that is a long intro. I apologize for that, but I'm going to grab my coffee, and I have got to hit the road because time is a wasting. That's for sure. And again, I'll take you along with me for the ride, and I'll let you know as soon as I know what to expect next. All right, let's go get this one done. Oh man, I love coffee. Oh, my son had got me a different flavor coffee as part of my birthday gift from them. It was just really thoughtful because they know how much I do enjoy coffee. It's a Folgers brand. It's their 1850 black gold, I think they call it, but it's a pretty bold flavored coffee. Absolutely love it. Love it. All right. I really got to get going. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late. Coffee. A little bit tricky. goodness. Whew. Yeah, before I left, Kim was asking me, so if you get the okay today, are you going to go out for a run? And of course, the answer would be yes, but I know that that's not going to happen. I'm not going to get my hopes up that that's what they're going to tell me today. And even if they did, it would be pretty light. I'm sure as a return to run program, it's going to be just a couple of minutes, maybe in my running shoes at a time. And maybe even using the lever system or zero gravity treadmill, something like that to get started. That's kind of what I'm anticipating, but I don't know for sure. I'm relying on the advice of experts. So, all right, I am gonna head on in and get ready for my appointment and hope for the best. Hoping for the best. Today should be pretty light, really. I mean, my anxiety isn't high like it was when I was coming in for my MRI, that kind of thing, because I'm on the mends. I am healing. It's just taking time. It's going to take a little bit of time. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for coming along with me on the journey, and I'll let you know what the doctor says as soon as I know. All right, let's head on in. Cool. So the x-ray was fairly quick. So now I need to head on over to sports medicine now that that's taken care of. It only took a couple of minutes. So we're on our way. Oh, getting my car to give you kind of the update. Lots of lawnmowers and stuff going on around, so I was kind of competing with that. So not the news that I was hoping for, but not terrible news either. So he wants me to go 4 more weeks without running. Oh my goodness, this is going to be a really, really long 4 weeks. But he did say that I can start to lift free weights, so that's good. And, I can golf, which that's really good. It is golfing season. He said, as long as you don't do anything, crazy, I should be fine. And I can continue to ride my mountain bike. And, he did suggest maybe doing some other things just so I didn't get bored. He said that, I could do things like a rowing machine or elliptical, of course, that kind of stuff. So, oh my goodness. So 4 more weeks. Oh, I thought that we might be getting close to starting a return to run program. Oh, but I did ask him about the Chicago Marathon, and I explained when I would want to start that training block, which was June 24th. And he said, no problem. He said, you lay off it for 4 weeks and you should be fine. You should be unrestricted to be able to start training for the Chicago Marathon. Because that was my question. When would I be able to start running unrestricted? And so, that's
That's it. I mean, that's what I know so far. Now that might change in 4 weeks or whenever I come back. But for right now, I would say, yeah, good news, bad news. Looking forward to starting to run again, but not yet. Just not yet. All right, you guys. Hey, thanks for making it to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Woo!